Donald Trump has finally delivered on the biggest promise of his campaign. He's destroyed the East Wing of the White House. Wait, that's what he promised? No. Okay, well, for more on that, it's time for a closer look. During the campaign, polls repeatedly showed that there was one issue that was far and away the most important to voters.
According to exit polling, many voters named the economy as a top issue, citing concerns over high prices and inflation.
People are so upset about inflation. I feel like they took inflation with them into the voting booth. When you ask them, has inflation caused you and your family a severe hardship or a moderate hardship? 75% said it was a hardship. Inflation was. The American psyche is just really scarred by what happened a couple of years ago when prices were going up so much that was kind of coming out of your, you just couldn't even keep track of it.
I mean, yeah, remember when eggs were super expensive and it was like the only news story? You couldn't even get down the aisle at Trader Joe's without being interviewed by all three networks? It was cheaper to buy those plastic eggs with little toys inside. There was no protein, but on the bright side, I had a pretty sick collection of plastic rings. Inflation was such a big deal that Trump attributed his victory to that one issue.
And one on groceries. It's a very simple word, groceries. Like almost, who uses the word? I started using the word. The groceries, when you buy apples, when you buy bacon, when you buy eggs, they would double and triple the price over a short period of time. And I won an election based on that.
Those are the only three foods he knows. Everything else he eats comes in a wrapper or a bucket. Also, whenever Trump feels like he has to explain something to us, I started using the word groceries. That's the telltale sign he just learned about it. It's like when a kid learns about a new dinosaur and then immediately rushes home to tell you about it. Did you know a Brachiosaurus has a neck that's 30 feet long? And you go, yeah, kid, everybody knows that. You think we didn't have dinosaurs when I was little? Grow up. Remember, Trump is a guy who has clearly never stepped foot inside a grocery store. Not too long ago, he didn't even know how to buy bread.
You have voter ID to buy a loaf of bread. You have ID to buy a loaf of bread.
Yeah. Everyone knows you need voter ID to buy bread. Then you get the correct type of bread based on your political affiliation. You get Wonder Bread if you're a Republican, Sprouted Grain if you're a Democrat, and Cinnamon Swirl if you're an anarchist. Hey, by the way, how come that cocaine in loaf form hasn't been banned by RFK yet? I'll take the COVID shot any day, but I sure as hell don't trust what's in that cinnamon bread. The point is, Trump made groceries his big thing. In fact, he talked relentlessly about it on the campaign trail.
I hear about groceries. They're so expensive. I get more complaints about groceries, everything from hot dogs to bacon and eggs and everything. Bacon hasn't come down. Apples haven't come down. Lettuce, nothing's come down. Your prices weren't quadrupled for a sausage, for a piece of lettuce, for an apple. Now the prices have gone so high. Everyone tells me about the word groceries. They call it groceries. Bacon, lettuce, tomato.
The man is clearly hungry. He's dressed like a garbage man and listing off foods like he's telling the other guys on the truck what he found in the trash. I'm telling you, fellas, don't rush to throw the bags in the back. There's full meals in there. I found bacon, lettuce, tomato, loaf of bread. Usually you need ID to buy that. Also, tell me you don't go to the grocery store. I'll take one piece of lettuce. So that was the biggest issue of the campaign. You heard it from Trump himself. That's how he got elected. Inflation. By the way, whatever happened with that?
We fixed inflation.
Oh! Did you hear that? He fixed inflation. Sound the trumpets. You there, boy. Go. Fetch the biggest goose in the grocery store. But remember to bring your voter ID. What a blessed day. Inflation has been fixed. Hooray.
Consumer goods are getting more expensive as well. The latest consumer price index shows overall prices rose by nearly 3% on an annual basis last month.
Most of the increase was driven by the basic necessities for Americans. Groceries and energy prices, those are the need-to-have things. That was significantly higher.
Oh, man, I don't think I gave that boy enough money to buy that goose then. Definitely a couple farthings short. Also, of course, prices of higher. Of course they are. Trump never cared about the price of groceries, or as they used to be known, apple, bacon, eggs. And I can't believe anyone thought that he did. During the election, it felt like the whole country was watching a horror movie where a young woman answers the door on a rainy night and there's a guy there saying, "My car just broke down. Can I come in and use your phone?" And half of us were saying, "Don't let him in, he's gonna kill you." And the other half were saying, "You gotta let him in, he needs the phone." Plus, he's gonna lower grocery prices. So groceries are actually getting more expensive, but probably not the important ones, right?
If you feel like your coffee beans are more expensive, they are. Compared to a year ago, coffee bean prices in the United States up 21%. Bananas, buying those every week at our house, up 6.6%.
Coffee and bananas, well, thankfully, not many people buy those. Of course, Trump doesn't care about either. He would just tell people, instead of coffee, drink Diet Coke, and instead of bananas, just use the phone on your desk. There's one other non-food item on that list that surprised me and is especially damning for the president, who spends so much of his time doing interviews with professional wrestlers and comedians.
Audio equipment, say you're buying a mic or a little, something or the other, up 12%.
Oh my God, Donald Trump has raised the price of podcasts.
Lock the gates!
So inflation's actually getting worse, thanks in large part to Trump's tariffs, but he declared it fixed and moved on to a topic that, much like his beloved bacon, is closer to his heart.
We are going to make and build a ballroom, which they've wanted for probably 100 years at the White House. Yeah, we start pretty soon. We have a beautiful ballroom. I'm going to build a ballroom, beautiful ballroom for the White House. There's never been a president that was good at ballrooms. I'm really good. I've never seen a crowd like this. I think we need a ballroom. They've just started construction of the new ballroom. They've wanted a ballroom, and now they're going to finally have it. And it's going to knock your socks off. That's a knockout panel, and that goes right into the ballroom. It's going to be one of the most beautiful ballrooms anywhere in the world. The ballroom is under construction. I think it's going to be fantastic. I think it'll be one of the great ballrooms anywhere in the world. This is a plan. If it's got tables, right now we have a space that with tables holds about 79 people.
Oh my God, well, if it has tables, you didn't mention the tables before. If you had talked about tables on the campaign trail instead of groceries, I'm sure you would have won every state and Guam. Also, tables is such a great word. Did you start that one the way you started groceries? And here this whole time, I've been calling them wood boards on stick legs. Trump is so obsessed with this ballroom, he brings it up every chance he gets. He loves everything about it, even the noise.
We're building a world-class ballroom. You probably hear the beautiful sound of construction to the back. You hear that sound? Oh, that's music to my ears. I love that sound. Other people don't like it. I love it.
That's how you know Donald Trump was never a real New Yorker. Real New Yorkers hate the sound of construction. What else does he love about New York that everybody else hates? I love the sound of construction, the guy who takes the dump on the subway, and the New York Jets offense. That's my New York. Donald Trump is the only New Yorker who'd lift up his window and yell, "Hey, keep that noise up. I love the sound of construction." And the rest of us hate it. I'd rather hear my neighbor's trumpet practice through the wall at 3 a.m. than the sound of a jackhammer and a bunch of guys yelling, "Hey, Tony, where's the cement? Hey, which Tony you talking to? That Tony. Hey, we're all named Tony." By the way, my neighbor is great at the trumpet. That's where we got the sound effect from earlier. That is not recorded. He's playing live through the wall. Isn't that right, Mickey? Love that guy. Now, I do wish he could have sex a little quieter. One thing I've learned from living next door to Mickey, trumpeters do very well with the ladies. Now, it would be bad enough if Trump's biggest priority was building a gilded vanity project for himself, but it's so much worse because to do it, he's tearing down a somewhat well-known and beloved piece of property. You may have heard of it, the White House.
This morning, sources tell ABC News the entire east wing of the White House could be demolished by this weekend, making room for President Trump's 90,000 square foot ballroom. The demolition of the East Wing, which has stood for more than 120 years, shocking many on Capitol Hill. A preservation group questions the scale, saying the ballroom will dwarf the White House residence, disrupting its classical design.
That's right, he's tearing down the entire East Wing to build his stupid ballroom. I mean, look at this. This is like a sequel to Fixer Upper called Upper. And of course, Trump also lied about this project because when he first announced it, he promised us no demolition would be required.
It won't interfere with the current building. It'll be near it, but not touching it.
It'll be near it, but not touching it. So he basically promised to treat it like his marriage. Thank you, Mickey. Right on cue, Mickey. Trump explained yesterday that it wasn't his idea to change the plans. It came from unnamed architects.
Many people were surprised that the entire East Wing is being demolished because you had said initially that the ballroom would just touch or would not.
Well,
touch
certain
it.
areas
What
are being
happened?
certain areas are being left. We determined that after really a tremendous amount of study with some of the best architects in the world.
Oh yeah, who was the architect you talked to? Godzilla? And it's important to note, no one asked for this. In fact, officials are begging Trump to stop.
In a new letter to the Trump administration, the National Trust for Historic Preservation wrote that the addition will overwhelm the White House itself and urged officials to pause the demolition until the plans have been reviewed by the National Capital Planning Commission, which approves plans for federal buildings.
One, I couldn't agree more with the National Trust for Historic Preservation. And two, good luck with your letter.
You know, we're very excited about the ballroom. Oh, excuse me, mail's here. Dear Mr. Trump, overwhelm the building, pause the demolition. Oh, dear God, someone get Godzilla on the phone. We're about to make a terrible mistake.
Now, I'm sure you can imagine that if any other president did something like this, all hell would break loose. But on cue, Republicans are defending the project by comparing it to a much smaller White House edition from the past.
In 2009, President Obama upgraded the tennis court into a full basketball court.
Barack Obama built that basketball court. Barack Obama built his basketball court.
Obama got a basketball court.
Barack Obama added a basketball court. In 2009, outside President Obama added a basketball court.
Yeah, he did it outside. He didn't tear down the White House or any other historically significant structure. Can you imagine if Obama had put a rim at the top of the Washington Monument? I mean, sure, that'd be awesome. That would have been cool. This couldn't be any more of a bait and switch. Trump got elected by claiming he was going to make life more affordable for hardworking Americans, and now he's demolishing the White House to build himself a gilded vanity project. If you voted for Trump, thinking he'd bring down your grocery bills, tough luck. But on the bright side, you can think about how nice his new ballroom will be next time you're spending $50 on
Bacon, lettuce, tomato.
This has been a closer look.